YouTube. What's that?
Turks, man. Back at it, man, with another banger. We got Thinking Basketball with another video. The Funky Elite exclamation point with 2 parentheses. Offense fueled by 3 college teammates, man. Let's get straight.
Elite.
Let's get straight into it, man.
These are senior-laden teams, obviously, with not a lot of pro potential out there.
Villanova
With not a lot of
doesn't
purpose.
have a real NBA prospect on
they
their
don't.
squad.
The Knicks are led by
So how come like when these reporters say this, nobody says anything? Like nobody checks them after they would be so blatantly wrong. We just forget. But then when they're right, we give them all the credit. As if these niggas know basketball for real.
Niggas do not know
They do
basketball,
not hoop.
bro.
three
Bro, I still have yet to see a Stephen A. clip. I ain't gonna lie.
I
Or
seen him
Skip.
shooting a little bit.
I did see him shoot in a suit.
But Skip, never seen him hoop.
Nah. Never seen him hoop back.
Shannon Sharp, never seen him hoop.
Shannon Sharp plays football. That's a football
So what are
player.
we talking about?
Villanova team, and their offensive efficiency is in the 98th percentile historically,
Hey.
which is pretty good for non-NBA prospects.
Right.
Their offensive superstar,
my
Jalen
God.
Brunson, is cut from the Allen Iverson cloth of mighty mites, making tough shots while wrecking people with his footwork and change of direction.
Oh my
We
God.
did an entire deep dive on him playing off 2 feet last
That
year,
first step is
and he credits his college coach for that
I couldn't
development.
imagine guarding this
But I
nigga.
think at Villanova it was like polished it because everyone did it. It was something we did every single day. I kid you not. That's how we started practice. That's how we ended practice. Like we started just doing our footwork stuff. And so
That's fire.
Coach Wright was like, "I want you guys to have this in your repertoire, knowing that you guys can play the other way, but you will always have this style of basketball."
This Knicks
Telling you that
offense is
footwork,
built
it
around
changes your
Brunson,
game.
who leads the league in time of possession, ball handling, footwork combos, and clutch
God,
scoring.
pretty much what I hear is he got these
He's
niggas in a
averaging
mixer.
cool 42 points per 75 clutch possessions on
He's so
62% true shooting,
His bag
and
is
he's
crazy.
one of the most
Oh my
fearless
God.
players we've seen in years, and certainly
Telling
one
you,
of the
feet could take you far in
craftiest.
basketball, even if
And
you're
his 2
undersized.
college teammates play an integral role as well, with their secondary playmaking and movement, and at times this whole Knicks offense feels like an extension of those Nova teams, with Bridges' perpetual motion and Josh Hart leading the offensive rebounding brigade and
Give me that.
making connective passes.
I would love to play with Josh Hart.
Doesn't have a real NBA prospect.
The college teammates screen for each other. That forces a switch for Brunson to attack. And watch McHale relocate into empty space
God.
for a beautiful shot on the move. This time it's the exact same play. Instead of staying behind the line, Bridges cuts into open space. The pass never comes, so he just keeps going to the corner, then slams on the brakes to attack Victor Wembanyama on the drive. So McHale's
Victor couldn't even
perpetual
focus, right?
re-spacing and cutting into defensive cracks are a key element to this offense. And their movement and interactions are reminiscent of what they did together back at Villanova.
That's insane how they ended up on the
major
same
difference
team.
now, besides 8 years of evolution, is that they have one of the best
And they got
shooting
Cat.
bigs ever. So if teams
I
help
didn't
on
know
their
this.
Now, this
cuts
is
and
dangerous.
off-ball movement, Towns
They
can
should've
punish
kept
them as a
DiVincenzo,
finisher from
bruh.
behind the three-point
If they could have
line,
kept him, bro.
which works the other way as well.
And that
Bridges
6-man
screens to
roll.
get
Yeah,
Cat
bro.
3 here. 2 Atlanta defenders linger
Sure,
because of
Cat.
the shooting, which leaves
Or
McHale.
tweak.
Hart makes a great extra pass, then
nice.
one more from Bridges,
That's
and
nice.
Precious Achua is in nice and deep. Now, you might assume, hey, the Brunson Cat 2-man game is cooking people like an East Coast Jokic and Murray, but that's not really what drives this
This
offense.
dude's tripping.
Cat's only made 10 pick-and-pop threes all season, and he'll often drive in these spots or just space inside the arc. Here's a 2-man game on the side of the floor. Note Towns lingering inside the line because he's looking for something better at the basket.
Hey, they were
this
saying
one
Cat's
isn't
not
even a
aggressive.
pick and roll. It's a Brunson post-up.
People
Cat
just
creeps
create
to the
so
top
many
of the
narratives
key.
for no
Then he
reason.
baits the Spurs defense
Come here.
to dime up Hart for 2.
Hey.
And I love how funky yet progressive this spacing is, with a shooter circling out to the weak side, the center trying to pull out the shot blocker, and 2 forwards hunting layups on either block.
It's not
Instead
fair,
of
bro.
popping
It's
or
not fair.
rolling,
And Chris Paul
Towns
ain't
likes to
paint.
post up switches. The Rockets' weak side shifts toward the ball. That creates a minor opening for Bridges to attack on the swing. Brunson cuts behind his man and out of the lane, then it's Hart's turn, and then it's vintage Nova Knicks. So when you watch this team, you see a ton of bodies in and out of the paint, and you might think it's congestion, but it's more like layup hunting. And that's how a team with a mid-range king and a great stretch big ends up third in the league in shots made at the rim. And at the same time, they're just 26 in three-pointers attempted.
I like maybe more than 3 now.
Facts.
I gotta go see this in person. You can't leave the computer, you'll miss the Knicks. Yeah, I'm gonna see Jalen Brunson cook live. Well, how are you gonna do that?
Not getting
Well, I'm
this
gonna
one.
do it with
Got a Knicks fan
the
right here.
channel. Look at how funky this one is. Again, Hart's on the block, well, the big is on the perimeter. Then one weak side shooter sets a sneaky screen for the other, and even though McHale missed that one, the Knicks use this concept a ton. This time Hart takes the handoff, OG Anunoby moves inside the line to screen for McHale. The defense overplays, so he slips through the cracks for a layup this time. Here's some 1980s offense with a twist. Brunson running up from the baseline around some screens. Meanwhile, Hart stays on the block to screen for the screener, and that's all it takes for a lob and a stuff. Here's an out-of-bounds play with Bridges on the move. When the defense reacts, 2 Knicks cut into space. McHale fires, but Hart is there on the boards. And then instead of taking the 3, it's Cat who storms into space to finish at the rim.
Honestly, I think last year Cat would have just shot the 3.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't think so?
Yeah, he would.
Organically leads to rebounding chances. All
Tom
the
Thibodeau
bodies in the
don't play
paint
that, I don't
and
think.
cutters flying through.
Nah, bro. I think it's the
are
Knicks that
rim
may
pressure
play
in
a little
today's
more aggressive.
game. The
They don't
Knicks
win, though.
offense
Good
sends a
shit.
wing to crash the offensive glass from the perimeter, and McHale cleans that one up. But the offense itself creates rebounds. Here's that little screen from one shooter to free the other one. And so the screener is in rebounding position along with the wing that he just screened
One thing about the
for.
Knicks, they don't settle
This
too
time
much.
it's a pick and roll.
I can
the big
respect
man
that.
gets to the
Layup,
block and then pins his man under the hoop. Meanwhile, Hart is setting a screen for a shooter, then he can just slip right to the rim for a board.
That's
and
why you get so
warp
many offensive
inside
rebounds.
offense. And this one's a pick and roll near midcourt with a third defender to help. So Hart just cuts, and that opens up a good look for Anunoby,
he's
and
like
puts
that.
Hart, the
Nice.
roll man, and the wing crasher into the rebounding scrum, so the Knicks get
Anunoby's
an
up
extra
counter.
crack
Yeah,
at.
straight 3 and D.
Another
He better
wrinkle
than
in this
Ninja
offense is for Hart to screen
Right now,
for the
right now.
dribbler and then roll into the paint like a big, and that naturally puts him in rebounding position. Whereas most teams in today's NBA have guards screen for each other to force switches or quickly pop out to the perimeter for a
Isaiah
3.
Joe.
But the Knicks use the 6'4" Hart like a pseudo big man. He screens and rolls
do
to the
low-key play
block.
like a big
McHale maybe misses him on the pass there, but when Cat crashes
You know all
into
those
the
like
perimeter,
unorthodox players that used to be like in middle school, in like high school, they're all turned out to be Josh Hart.
It's like play stuff.
Yeah, that's how like what it was supposed to be.
Josh is in deep to clean up for Bridges.
'Cause that's really how they all
Sometimes
play.
Hart doesn't even set the screen. He fakes
Just
it
not the same
here
advantage.
just to get behind Chris Paul, and that inside position was enough to keep it alive and secure this great Christmas win. And they use Hart like this because he's uniquely gifted as an offensive rebounder, with a great nose for the ball, and he uses his cutting acumen and quickness to time up these beautiful crashes.
Every player needs a Josh
Bro, I
Hart.
think he just wanted more, bro.
There's obviously an element of desire to rebounding. He tracks it off the
rebounding,
rim
man.
well too.
And everybody needs a player
Man,
like
it's
this.
hard
Hey,
to
he
guard
loves
second
rebounding, bro. You
chances
gotta love to see it,
sometimes.
man.
And on this possession, he's spacing out to the wing,
This
crashes
is a
into
prime
the
example of
empty
knowing
area
your role
behind
on the team.
LeBron,
bro. That's how you
then
win.
chases it down off the rim
Not
just
everybody
to
can beat
snap
Jalen
it back to
Brunson.
Jalen for some two-footed Nova offense. They're 11th in offensive rebounding percentage, which might sound disappointing if you know they were first last year, but they're also playing with a stretch big and relatively smaller lineups than they have in the past. Traditionally, teams space way out to open lanes for cutters or ball handlers to attack.
Oh my God.
But
Strong
the
guy
Knicks
right
often
there.
keep someone low, send a cutter through the lane, and crash the glass on the shot from the wing. And you may think, man, doesn't this mess up the spacing? But on this team, I think that's a small cost for a bigger benefit. Cat still attacks with his drives, Brunson still finds the paint and gets in deep, and meanwhile everyone else benefits from all the cutting and repositioning, even the outside shooters. This is an offense that creates small advantages, like Cat posting up a smaller player, and then moves and hustles to create bigger advantages. Again, multiple Knicks dive to the paint, Hart's cut occupies a defender, and leaves McHale free in the corner. And Cat's passing helps unlock a ton of this movement and activity from the Knicks. He can play the three-man game with the Nova guards, and he's good at hitting cutters. Or they can run that exact same three-man action, and he'll feather it to Brunson, where from there JB can do the rest. We've also seen Hart make a number of these connective tissue passes.
It's a great team.
I think having
Their
two
chemistry is
extra
crazy.
passers out there is critical for this type of
And it's
offense,
well balanced,
especially
too.
since Brunson can't always directly make these kinds of passes by himself. Hart also serves as a kind of one-man transition offense for the Knicks. According to Second Spectrum, New York would rank 11th in the league in transition possessions with
He's like
Josh
a
on
vegan?
the floor,
He's vegan?
but
Yeah,
that
or vegetarian,
plummets to
something like
29th when he goes to the bench. Transition possessions are the most valuable possessions in basketball, and in addition to being a strong open court finisher, this is again
Josh
driven by
Hart like the type of person to
Hart's
run
pace
two
and
arm
rapid move
bands,
skills from his
Yeah,
rebounding
two
that
arm
bring
bands.
an
I didn't know
extra
that's a
dimension
bench.
to the offense.
Hey.
Hart's actually averaging 10 boards and 6 assists per game, despite being the weakest traditional offensive player of the starters. Bridges
16 RA
per game, despite rarely ever getting all the way to the rim. And Brunson's 26 and 7 assists feel superhuman at times when he takes over the game in the clutch.
How cute he was. Right after that, I love FaceTime. Look how cute he is. Look how happy he is. He was so excited.
Cat and Jalen can still do damage in a conventional pick and roll game, but it might be their two-man pairing defensively that does the Knicks in. As great as Towns is offensively, he gives something back on the other end as a big man, especially in pick and roll coverages, so teams attack him and Brunson on that end of the court,
I wanna see
while
that
the
playoff
rest of the
series.
Knicks try to
Alright,
cover
Knicks
for
next?
them.
Yeah.
That's a good
A
shit.
lack of depth is also a concern. They play all 5 starters over 35 minutes per game. And in this sense, I find New York to be a beautifully flawed team, maximizing value in one area while trying to avoid bleeding in another.
That's why I don't
They
like
survived in the regular
the way they're
season when
coached. They
Brunson
won't be able
goes
to make it
bench,
far. Like,
but a major
Yeah, they be
concern in
killing
the
him, man.
playoffs
Dude,
is the
D
lack
Rose
of
got
a
hurt.
second on-ball creator
Play them
to
niggas
complement
40 minutes a game.
Jalen.
Who's it? Who got hurt?
And
D
yet,
Rose
despite
under Tom
this,
Thibodeau, I think.
this is the
That's how
best
you got it?
Knicks offense in history. Only
can't
the
play a star player that
2013
much,
team
bro.
is even
Yeah.
close.
You be
And
juicing,
it's
bro.
largely because Coach Tom Thibodeau did not simply run something conventional like spread pick and roll with Brunson and Cat. Instead, he nerded his way into a blend of cutting-edge progressive movement married to some old-school hustle and sweat. And he did all this by building an offense around Brunson, the 33rd pick in the draft, the perpetual respacing exemplified by Bridges,
Wait, he was
the
33rd
10th pick, and the singularly unique rebounding, passing, and pace
Lottery
provided
never.
by the 30th
Lottery really
pick,
never. Well, it does
Hart,
or something, but
which isn't
sometimes
too
bro,
bad
lottery really don't.
for a college team that had no real NBA prospects. We have extra video content this year for members
And
at Patreon.
as you can see, being a lottery doesn't mean anything for y'all jits out there trying to make it to the league.
It's about development, man.
Facts, man.
Player development.
Seriously, man. Hey, the funky elite team, man. Shout out Thinking Basketball again for this great video, man. Y'all boys leave a like, comment, subscribe. Leave y'all thoughts down below. What y'all think about this Knicks team, man? How far can they make it, man? I don't think that far personally. That's just me though, man. But it's your boy JT.
It's your boy Mike.
And we're gonna catch y'all on this banger, man. And don't forget Sue.
Shout out, guy.
Shout out God, man.